There you go. I'm officially live. I'm hoping this works. I have a little setup here so I'm able to see the chat for the 0 people who are going to watch this. So I guess that's relatively useful. Mostly for, I don't know, checking stuff, really. Anyway, welcome to Kerbal Space Program. I mean, it's a video game that I've obviously sank an incredible amount of hours into because that's basically all I do on my YouTube channel. On this YouTube channel, obviously I have various ones, but this is one of the YouTube channels that I own. This is the one where I play loads of KSP. And in this, well, I guess stream of KSP, I'll be basically just showing off a bunch of Starship space stuff. I'll be talking about how to use it for yourself, because all these things are obviously uploaded up to, you know, uploaded up to, well, Google Drive and Google Sites. So you can click the little link in the description, and it will send you over to whatever, like, it'll send you over to my website, and you'll be able to see basically a list of all the crafts and everything, and you can download them. Well, anyway, we start by looking at a map of Kerbin, and the reason I'm here is because, once again, like everyone does, we're going to set a trajectory. So I'm gonna just disable a bunch of stuff here. I want to see debris. I want to see this. Flags possibly might be useful. But what I really want to be able to see is the trajectories of the planets. And I have Kerbal alarm clock installed over here. Just disable flight engineer real quick. And I'll show you how to set a couple of things up. So Kerbal alarm clock, I'm going to set it up so it tells me, obviously, when I can launch for Duna. So as you can see here, I have a Kerbin to Duna set as my little transfer window. Add alarm. I can now click B, hyper warp. This is another mod yet, once again. I just basically wait for the date to arrive. Or let's see, we're around. I'd leave around a couple of hours, maybe 3 hours. That's good enough. Yeah, 3 hours for our actual. Remember to change this back to standard warp. So 3 hours till a perfect window for Duna. There's our rapidly generating terrain. Looks terrifying. Anyway, now, oh wait, this is the wrong save. Whoops. That was a little bit of a mistake. That's the right save. Denchi space. I opened up the completely wrong save. Whoops. Okay, so resume. I guess I'll just do that little time shift thing again. I have the ISS orbiting Kerbin. That's kind of the big giveaway that it's my main save file. Kerbin to Duna, add the alarm. Once again, better time warp, hyper warp, set this to the highest warp, wait for that. And then that accidentally overshot. Great. Why didn't it warn me? I don't know. Great. Exactly what I need. Now I gotta wait for it all over again. Another 2 years of waiting. If only it would actually... There it is. Now it's doing a thing where it slows down. Okay, so now we just wait for that and wait for it, and soon. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 day. Each day is 5 hours in KSP. Okay, so now we're very, very close. Back to standard warp. We're very close to what is a Duna transfer window. So the way this is going to work is that I'm going to first of all launch a crew Starship, because I always launch a crew Starship first. I don't know, just out of pure habit. I'm only opening this up now so I can set up my Kerbal Engineer UI. I'll actually launch. This obviously doesn't have any people on it, and we need people if we're going to go to Mars and colonize it. So, yeah, I'm just only doing this so I can show you how to set up the UI. So, Engineer disabled, control bar disabled. I only use one HUD, and it's that one. And I'm gonna edit it. I'm gonna change its name to something like Cool HUD, and then I'll remove all of this. There I go, Cool HUD, and I'll call it CH or something. I don't know. I'll just call it HUD 2 officially. Anyway, you'll be able to. This is obviously a HUD, and we're gonna add a couple of things here. So I want to add a Poops's height, apoapsis, I don't care. Periapsis height, that's kind of useful. Time to apopsis. And I also want to add, so this is our first, yeah, I lied about using only one HUD. I'll use many. So orbital data, I also want to have a couple of vessel data. Let's see, I want to have things like thrust to weight ratio and our current delta V. current slash total. That's actually, no, I'll just do, I'll add a, I think you can add a spacer. Where can you add a spacer? Where do you add a spacer? Let's see. Miscellaneous, separator, there you go. Separator, and then I'll add another vessel. I'll add delta V current and delta V total. There you go. So that's a little UI that I like to set up. HUD 1, I'll call this cool landing HUD. This isn't actually something that I would use normally because I like using MechJeb for landings. I never actually I haven't used MechJeb for landings until recently. But besides that, the main things you want to add here are, well, I think actually thrust to weight ratio would be useful in the landing section, not in the vessel section, okay? And I'd say something like, what's surface thrust? Great, suicide burn distance, delta V, and countdown are useful. And that's pretty much it. Countdown is kind of key. Close editor. As you can see, none of those datas are currently there. And I'm just going to go here in the regular cool HUD and disable the thrust to weight ratio. There you go. So this is how I set up my HUD. I just basically have, so for example, I'm gonna revert the flight, but for example, I start launching, you'll see I have the data over here, my suicide burn distance. I don't actually use that a lot. I use that insanely. I like using MechJeb now because it's useful. You're in the MechJeb menu. And then you go landing guidance as it's already opened there, and I can just tell it to land somewhere, and it should auto land. It can even auto land a craft like this. Watch it do it. It's yeah, it's gonna attempt to. This is just the sheer power of MechJeb. Can do something like this. It's kind of insane when you think about it. So it should be able to sort of stably land that auto-magically, as I like to say. But having the actual data there is very, very useful. It's genuinely, yeah, useful, and it really, there you go, look at how stable that landing is. Can't get a better landing than that. That's perfect. It's like a textbook landing right there. Except I'm landing the entire ship. Whoops. Anyway, revert to vehicle, I'll just recover the vessel, actually, since I didn't really lose much besides a little bit of fuel, and this isn't a career game through. What I'd personally recommend in terms of when it comes to any other types of mods, obviously better time warp is kind of necessary. Kerbal alarm clock, I only have that for convenience. I could do the things manually, but I don't. Same thing for MechJeb, it only really is there for convenience. You can do all of the things that I do manually. If anything, doing them manually is in many ways more efficient than the way I do it. Anyway, now that we've prepared all of that, we can actually go in here and select our crew vehicle and fill it up, because it's kind of a little empty at the moment. So I'll just fill it up with a couple of people, add more people, go back there and fill it up with more people. That's really enough. We don't really need more. That's an incredible amount of Kerbals. So now we can finally launch. You can fill it up with around, I think it's a lot of Kerbals is my point. Loads of people. Many people can be in that craft. Anyway, William is now playing Soundpad demo, exactly what I wanted to see. Anyway, so here's our craft. As you can see, you know, this is what it looks like from inside. Everybody seems pretty, you know, chill down and such. You know, we're gonna go to Mars hopefully and not completely die. It kind of looks sick. Not sick as in the bad way, but sick as in the, well, actually no. Wait a second. Shift B. I want to go back to where I was before. I wanna show you the captain's like locate. There we go. So this is how the ship looks like internally in terms of how it's set out. There's a probe, as you can see, that can control everything autonomously. And if you want, you can obviously, you know, engage. These are all your various gauges and stuff. You don't need to do anything from actually in here. Anyway, the first thing I'll do obviously is I will exit this view and click on we'll stage. Maybe make stage, and let's go. I already have the throttle at full. And the first thing I like to do is basically, I want a more, it's always better with these lower thrust to weight ratio things, because if you look at our thrust to weight ratio, it's 1.64. It's not the most optimal thing. It's quite, you know, high, but it's not that high. So I basically don't. I'm pitching over a little bit. That's just out of pure habit, but don't pitch over too much. Because if you pitch over too much, you'll end up with a very steep approach, and especially when it comes to landing the booster, which is something I'll guide you through later, it gets incredibly annoying if you go too, off range, too down range. You don't want to go too down range with the booster. Booster should be focused on getting you. It can't even get you to suborbital height, really, on regular usage. Anyway, obviously speeding up as we go. Might want to start pitching a little forwards, but not too much, Never want to pitch too much forwards with this ship. And eventually, you'll reach a point where around this kind of point, you have enough fuel, and you can, around 500 meters, 570 meter per second threshold, you can detach the booster and keep going. I'll drive this all the way to orbit. We'll fly it all the way to orbit, just out of, just to be sure that doesn't crash. You might at some point even want to engage both, like engine quadro. I think I actually wait a second. I think I actually forgot to enable a couple of engine things. Like, let's see. I think I forgot to enable two as these. I don't know why that disabled. I had that before. I'm pretty sure the crafts that you download won't have that issue. I don't know why this one did. Anyway, just keep an eye on your apoapsis, whatever you want to call it, height, because that's kind of key to this entire operation. I'll activate the vacuum engines now, simply out of I guess habit. I don't know. You might want to keep activating those non-vacuum atmospheric engines a couple of times, just to be 100% sure that you're getting that maximum thrust-to-weight ratio you really need. The 0.47 thrust-to-weight ratio doesn't look that good. Okay, so now what you really want to be doing is not what I'm doing right now, not pitching accidentally down. You want to, well, maybe actually a good idea would be to set some form of maneuver node and then use that to get to orbit. That's kind of, functional. Maybe not warp to it, but just ensure that. Yeah, that looks about right. Just ensure that everything is stable to the point, in the sense that you're getting the accurate orbit that you're looking for in terms of things like, just basically don't waste fuel. That's the main philosophy. When it comes to a craft like this, there's loads of dead weight. Like it's very, very poorly built when it comes from a rocketry perspective. It's very inefficient, although it is very reusable because of how sturdy it is. It's surprisingly, like, it can survive quite a few things. Not quite an Eve re-entry, but it can definitely survive some tough things when it comes to being a rocket. Vacuum engines at this point might be recommended. I don't know why my action groups just seem to completely not want to work. I think I'm not allowed to hot swap engines anymore, or something like that. Something happened, but we just get into orbit. At some point, disable the. I don't know why they don't want to disable sometimes. There you go, and just get into orbit, and almost into orbit, and we're almost into orbit, and into orbit almost. And it's there. Okay, so now we're in a little 6 kilometers off orbit, but besides that, I mean, it is still orbit. We can do all the little spinnies and such. Now let's move over to our booster, because that's kind of important. We gotta land that. So this is the booster. As you can see, as soon as it detaches from the ship, I can actually switch to the American. I should actually switch to the American keyboard layout at this point. I will, just so I can get vessel switching to work when it comes to this kind of context. I forgot what keys it was to vessel switch, but anyway, set your whatever that is, poopses, that kind of stuff. I don't know why the keyboard isn't wanting to work. Okay, so clearly it didn't set me to the Italian keyboard. Despite, oh no, it did. It sent me to the American key. Okay, well, doesn't matter. I don't care. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to land a booster. We're not gonna need that feature until later. Just my keyboard layout prohibits me from like Anyway, so activate your engines around this point so you can full blast. It's always better to have them at full blast. It's always more efficient. You might want to activate landing predictions in Kerbal, what's it called again? You know, that program, MechJeb, that thing. That's always useful. Anyway, eventually we can start. I'd actually recommend, if you really want to, you can go here. Well, apart from deploying the air brakes, you can activate pitch and yaw. That actually makes them a little bit more useful. I've never really done this in video, because you see they can overextend when they've activated that, and that makes them genuinely useful when it comes to landing. So now all we really do is click on this button that says land somewhere, and it will land us somewhere. Hopefully not anywhere bad. We can abort the auto land actually. I want to get nearer to where as you can see, my very vertical approach took a little bit of a toll here. Maybe because I have way too much fuel in this booster. See, every single extra fuel that you have in a booster. I'll deactivate the main large cluster of engines. I've activated a smaller cluster of engines, and I'll just activate make sure that everything is activated. And there, as you can see, we're landing slowly landing towards, careening towards the ground at a slightly braking intensely right before you hit the parking spot. And there you go. Landing, textbook perfect landing. Screenshot worthy. Took a screenshot right there. And landed, sort of. Yeah, now we're landing. Remember to activate RCS and that kind of stuff. And off we are. There we are, landed. And we can recover this vessel. And once we recover it, it will send us back to our main ship. And once that's done, we can now prepare for something even cooler, which is sending up the tanker. And the tanker is great because it's annoying. It's genuinely one of the most annoying crafts. Why? Well, simply because, here's our main ship. I don't know why I'm here. I'm supposed to be going back to the Space Center. I know why I'm here. Just because the recovery button sends you back to your main mission because I'm using FMRS, Flight Manager for Reusable Stages. It's very useful. I guess I'll go here and there you go. Auto crew assignment. They got launched into space, and automatically that makes them an astronaut. I haven't used the cargo version of the Starship to go to Duna yet, although I might. It sounds fun. Yeah. Anyway, once this is loaded, we can do once again another launch. Very, very simple. This one's all robotic, no people on board when it comes to this kind of stuff. Yeah, just slowly launch towards up. Remember to land the booster. I'll guide you through that. I'm kind of pitching a little bit in this one because I don't want to end up like I did before with the booster that's finding it a little hard to get, back. Well, finding it very easy to get back, and that means we've kind of like lost a little bit of steam. I don't know, lost a little bit of fuel to the booster. We used too much fuel. I think. So a good threshold for the amount of delta V you're going to need in the booster is around 520 meters per second should cut it. That should definitely be enough. So just wait for that threshold over here, and you should be perfectly fine as long as you don't mess up the redirection burn, the return burn, that thing. That burn you gotta do because you gotta do it. You know what I'm on about? I don't know, actually. And here we go. When you reach around 500 and that's about enough. We may have left it with too little fuel. I'm scared. See, now the hot switching is working. I'm confused about why that didn't work before. Must have just been the game, freaking out because not exactly the most stable game, KSP. I'm sure everybody knows that. everyone who watches my channel would know. Mostly because of my... Okay, so we're gonna just quickly send this up to orbit. We can dock these later. Almost there. Okay, so we want to activate the orbital engines. These are really useful, as I said before, because you know they're orbital, vacuum engines. Those are great. I don't know why. I enjoy this game a lot, mostly because there's just so much depth to the construction system. The fact that I can build something like this and have it fly and have it fail a lot. There's just loads of fun to it. Let's see. Okay, so I'm not actually gonna dock them the traditional way, mostly because I can't be bothered with sitting here and docking these for 2 hours. I could do it, and I know how to do it, and I've done it before. In fact, my first ever video was literally just me showing off the fact that I could dock, because of that lunar, docked around the Mun. Anyway, we ended up in a similar orbit as our previous craft. Then we'll switch back to the booster. There you go. Once again, pointing back. Oh, these little RCS thrusters. They look so cool. Yeah, point towards there. And then you gotta do that gamer move we all know about. The boost back burn, I guess. That's what people call it. This burn. This thing. And just essentially activate the landing predictions and ensure that little blue thing ends up where you want it to be, which is there. That's way too far. I went way too far with that. Do not send it that far. Next time, be more precise with your boost backs at home. I think we might have to, because of the nature of my burn, I might not be able to do that really cool cinematic central cluster engine landing. So I'll have to do it the loser boomer way, and that would be obviously with the full cluster of engines. I might be able to switch back to the main cluster of engines by the end. There we are. Hopefully this will be enough. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. Oh, it is. It is. It is. It is. It is. It is. Survive. 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 I'll assume that's good enough. No, don't crash. Don't crash. No, 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 no. Jump back to separation right before it crashes. I mean, I know I would have only lose like a couple of parts with that crash, but I don't know. I just feel like that was way too much risk. So once again, periapsis point. Or point towards it. I don't know, whatever heading you want. This time I'll save a little bit of fuel. I'll make sure to show my landing prediction. So as you can see, if I were to keep going down here, I'd end up in the ocean. But where I really want to end up is not in the ocean. Want to end up. So this is around the central point. Activate the boost back and slowly slow down. And there you go. That right there at the center. Now we flip back and relax and enjoy or something. I don't know. Hopefully. This thing is so large and just has so many materials, and the wings itself, it can literally fly like a plane essentially, which makes it very, very controllable and very, very flexible in terms of where you land it. I'm landing it right there next to the, center. I'll just tell it land. It might actually land on the landing place. So there you go. I might get it to land there. It's almost there. It's going there. Super heavy booster landing imminent. Don't land on the patches of grass on the side. Land on the... Look at that. Spot on. Spot on landing. Almost there. Almost there. Almost there. Almost there. And... picturesque. That's a gamer landing right there. Can't get a better landing than that, can you? Look at that. Great, great, great shot right there. Anyway, now instead, it's time for another gamer move. We're going to dock the two ships. Now, I can't be bothered doing the manual docking process. If you want to do that, go for it. I don't really care. But in terms of docking, you shouldn't really use that much fuel. Like, it's not gonna really have a huge impact on Delta V. My key focus here is really on. I'll just dock them like this in the very lazy, straight up way. There we are. So somewhere that ship is. Where is that ship? It's above me. Is it to my side? Is it? Where is it? Oh, there it is. Wow, that's eerily close. Anyway, here's the top tip. Not the top tip. The thing you need to do to make this work. Unlock this. Press the 9 key. Sorry, the 8 key. That will extend the 9 key activates something else. That will extend the little pingy thing. Lock it again. Then, basically, set this as your control point. So right-click this, control from here. Make sure none of the engines are enabled. You don't need those. And activate docking mode. There you go. In terms of my keyboard layout, I have no idea what's happened. I mean, I should be switching between things, but I'm not for some reason, which is upsetting me a little bit. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Now I can switch between ships. I just had to delete the Italian. Anyway, so this is the other ship. Right-click in here and unlock the motor and make it long. There you go, long. Now lock it again. Now, once again, set your control point to this guy and point towards the other guy. Where is he? It should be over there. Cannot see it. Where's the ship I'm trying to dock to? There it is. So point towards that. Set that as your, target. Switching back to that ship, make sure the target is still set, and start, essentially, well, first of all, I'd recommend setting a straight heading, like, around like this should be fine. Maybe like that, yeah, sure, like this. Same thing on this, mostly because it just makes them look good. Like, there's no real practical reason for it. It really is just aesthetics. We're going to want to need around 2,000 meters per second of delta V from this fuel transaction. So once again, point towards it and just, you can hold down H and use the docking controls to control yourself. Yeah. We might be reaching that other craft a little fast. Just, that's normal. Don't panic. As always, never panic. It's always bad to panic when it comes to space stuff, because chances are you're gonna break something, and there'll be not as bad as a kernel panic. Anyway, did I mention I'm running this entire game off Linux? Let's see. Docked. Almost, dock, boy. Doesn't seem to want to dock. I think I'm messing something royally up here. Did I set that guy to target me? Yes. Okay, yeah, I set myself to separate a little bit. I know it can be kind of finicky sometimes. That's just because that's just how it is. Just is finicky. It's a very, I could get a cool, like, docking mod that makes docking super easy and gamer and super easy and such and all that stuff. But no, I like to do it manually the old-fashioned way. Work. Maybe I should just disable the docking inquirer force. That might fix it. Maybe I should make it a million times stronger. No, that's not fixing anything besides using an incredible amount of my delta V. Because I'm using, obviously, this. I'll just disable the docking acquire force sides a little bit. And point towards the guy. If I were to sit there and I were to... There we go. And we're almost docked. Come on. Yeah, now we're docked. That's a docking right there. So now that they're docked, you can transfer the fuel. So first of all, I'm going to go to a place with a daylight so I can actually see things. There we go. That's better. So now I'm going to transfer fuel from this guy to that guy. Because this guy's the guy with the tanker. We're going to just shift. We'll alt-click on that. If you're on Windows, alt-click. If you're on Linux, right-shift-click. Right-shift-click on this boy. This tank is obviously that guy. This tank's this guy. Just in. Just transfer all the liquid fuel to there. From what I've seen around, you need around 2,000 in total internally. I don't know why that tank got drained somehow. That's nice. Excellent. There's more tanks, obviously. There's these little side tanks. Those two side tanks I selected, then you can fill in this guy with the side tanks. Once that's done, yeah, that should be enough fuel. That should most certainly enough fuel for all of your interplanetary adventures. So now you can undock, and as you can see, I don't think we have enough fuel. Whoops. Might want to redock real quick. Redock. 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 Doesn't want to redock, does it? Come on, they're literally docked. They're literally docked. Come on, they're literally docked. Okay, they might not be literally docked, but you know, they're almost sort of docked. Okay, whatever. It'll have to do. Just only use these engines. It will work. It will be enough. We don't need to go back anyway. So this has enough fuel to make it all the way back to wherever you want to make it back. It's obviously going to be the KSC. And I've accidentally set myself to go back to the Drakkis station real quick. I think the periapsis isn't. Well, no. Oh, I think we're still one big vessel in this existence. Oh, I've just reverted my entire operation. Excellent. I guess in this case, what I'll do is I will, well, first of all, ensure all the fuel has already been transferred. Well, that's a passenger module. No, I have to transfer fuel from this guy. If only it gave me some form of transparent view when it came to this kind of stuff. That's a Jumbo 64 fuel tank. That obviously is going to have to go straight into this guy's Jumbo 64 fuel tank. There you go. That ought to be enough. That's good enough. Undock this guy. And there you go. That's more like it. That's a more appropriate number of V's on your deltas. Maybe that's a little bit excessive for us in terms of landing, but besides that, make sure our periapsis is set. Yeah, periapsis is looking good. Now we're going to essentially, we're going to want to show landing predictions, and we're going to want to start slowing down. So the landing predictions will start showing up. It will show where you land, and I want that that blue circle thing to be as close to home as possible when it comes to home, which is this place. So you might want to overshoot a little bit. That's okay. Overshooting a little bit, that's okay. Okay, so now might want to disable RCS, because RCS uses a little bit of fuel. And we're going to point towards here, and we're going to start, obviously, descending. Now, you can use the little wings to aid you in this. So now we just wait. Cool thing about this is that it shows you a real-time trajectory with that little red line. That's always, it's a little glitchy, it's a little like kind of iffy, but like it's quite useful. Okay, so you might see a little bit of weird, movement when it comes to this kind of stuff. You can move your wings backwards if it makes you. RCS might obviously aid in this kind of stuff. Yeah, that's gonna be. You basically just want to ensure the wings can be useful. Look at that, flapping its wings like a bird. Eventually, though, you'll end up in this purely vertical position, and then you can lock the wings. It's always recommended to lock them, because locking them is good. Okay, so now we're going to essentially ensure that we don't land on the mountains and activate, I'll just quickly activate our vacuum engines. Just make sure we don't land on the mountains. And one thing you want to do right before landing is unlock these, set the damping to 0, maybe increase the traverse rate, just so you have these landing gears. So that's going to be useful. Now set it to, I don't know why our thing's over. I think we warped. Oh, I think we warped too hard and that happened. Whoops. I don't know. Maybe some struts would fix that, but land somewhere. It's going to land you. Boom. You're done. We're done here. Almost done. It's going to land now. So now, I want to activate obviously the landing gear just to make that a little bit more stable. And it's gonna obviously do the little kickback thing, and off we go. Yay, it landed. Oh, there we go. We just ran out of fuel right when it, uh-oh, it's tipping over. Nothing broke. Nothing broke. Check my F3, nothing broke. So it's technically a perfect recovery. In theory. Look at these landing legs. Look at that. That's epic. Anyway, so I accidentally left this on. I shouldn't have left that on. But anyway, back to, you know, if we recover the vessel. There we go. We recovered the vessel. And then we go to, there you go, tracking station. And then we open up, there we go, this guy. First thing I'll do is obviously make sure the docking port is inside. Don't want that outside. That'd be kind of ruining things. So now, yeah, I'm gonna set the docking port to be just make sure this is unlocked. Target extension like this. Lock it again. There you go. So that's done. Now we can set a trajectory for Duna. So this trajectory is quite key. You won't really burn up in Duna atmosphere, so you don't have to worry. Like it's nothing. It's literally non-existent. So you don't have to worry about having a really low approach. But we can set our approach later. Anyway. Okay, so I believe the MUN is intersecting with our Duna approach. So that's a little bit of an issue. There you go. We're getting one. We're almost getting one, but the MUN is getting in the way, so I'm just going to do a couple of, there you go, a couple of these. And then I'll set another approach. This time the MUN shouldn't get in the way, hopefully. Okay, that's overkill. Slower, just make sure the target and the stuff align. Then you'll be good. Almost there. There you go. Encounter with Duna. Got the encounter right there. I might want to activate. I think I forgot to activate more conic patches. Yeah, there you go. Apply. Patches will let me see beyond my orbit. Basically, once this doesn't seem to want to load. Leave the game. I think we're back. Accept. There you go. Resume. Okay, so now you can see the conical patches tell me. Well, the conic patches tell me exactly where I'll be. So I'll just, as you can see, a burn to Duna takes around 1,000 meters a second. The other 700, that'll be enough to send us all the way. Well, pretty much to land, is the point. Okay, so now I'm going to ensure, first of all, that we're pointing the right direction for cinematical reasons, and then I'll okay, we're definitely not pointing the right direction because control from here, boy. There you go. That fixed our issue. RCS is kind of pointless because we're only rotating. And now I recommend disabling RCS unless you're docking or you're trying to land, in which it's sort of required. Okay, now we do the famous blast burns. burn. There you go. Now we just literally just wait. Warp. Wait for that to transpire. As you can see, slowly our orbit expands as we reach the point. Yep, this takes quite a long time for what it is. And almost there. Just make sure you get it precise. You don't want to get a bad burn. Anyway, because of the sheer size of this craft, you can never know exactly how precise these predictions are going to be. And so because of that, I wholly recommend being very, very precise with your burns in terms of even using RCS. Well, RCS isn't that precise when it comes to this kind of stuff, but... Okay, I don't know what the hell I did, but that's not accurate at all. What did I do? There you go, that's an encounter. A wasted Delta V on a pointless encounter. Anyway, so set our warp speed to hyper. Wait a second, I'll just disable this stupid HUD nobody likes about the performance. And hyper warp time, yay. Now that we're closer to the actual planet, we're going to disable hyper warp, and we're going to point at Duna itself. And what we're going to do is set a little, in 5 hours, a maneuver. 5 hours is a day, by the way, a maneuver. And this maneuver is going to essentially, well, kind of. We can have the maneuver node manager here. Essentially, okay, no, wait a second. Let me actually plot the maneuver. 1 year? No, that's not what I... 1 day. There you go. There you go. Set your resolution to really low when it comes to the precise... Okay, that's a little too low, maybe. Oh, whoops. That can happen sometimes, yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, this kind of stuff is quite precise. So just really low, and, yeah. Here, this is the biggest part of the burn, this rotation. Just to essentially make sure that we're aligned flat with Duna. That's kind of the key here. So we want to make sure we're looking at this flatly and make sure that line becomes flat. There you go. That's a round sort of flat. Yeah, whatever. Close. Okay, whoops. There you go. We can do it more precisely when we actually get to it. In the meantime, point towards your thing and click on the super warp button. It will warp you to a point where it's only in 1 minute away. Now we just warp that one last minute, and then every second of this burn kind of counts. Okay, so we gotta be very precise when it comes to this burn, because it is sort of key to this entire operation in many ways. It's very essential. That's kind of my point. It's very important. So we want this to be as, there you go. Oh, whoops. That's not what I meant to do. So as you can see, it does this little like boosting thing, because gravity's weird. Look at it; it's going back and forth as I burn. It instincts. It's something to do with physics that I just don't understand. Maybe it's forwards I need to go. Yeah, it's most certainly that, but not really. I'm using RCS now. Okay, that's good. 47. Fine. Um, 28. That's excellent. So now you can simply do a hyper warp and just warp to there. Actually, no, just warp to here. So you want to warp as quickly to Duna is kind of the point. And once you get there, you can send a cargo mission with some form of fuel recovery. So now, want to make sure that we're pointing in the right direction. Don't want to be pointing in the wrong direction, because if we are, we're not going to be landing exactly. So now, we're going to use aero capture to kind of help us here. We want to be able to essentially let the dunar atmosphere slow us down to a point. There we go. It's even heating a little bit. To a point that we're low enough that we basically lose enough speed, because we're at pretty immense speeds at the moment. It's kind of hard to pass completely unscathed in an atmosphere like this at these high speeds. So as you can see, we're capturing Taduna with its immense atmosphere. So eventually, we'll end up in a suborbital trajectory because of just how influential the dunar atmosphere is. So eventually, feel free to just do this. Click on the land somewhere button. Abort auto land. That's actually a bad idea. And now, we just kind of wait. Once again, unlock these. Dampening, I don't know. The G button activates those, and we want those to kind of activate. So now we want to make sure that we're at a slow speed. And now I guess we can even set up a cinematic camera. Maybe a maximum speed of 200 relative speed. There we go. I'll just set some activation keys. There we go, that's pretty accurate. Little down. But I want to aim at... like that. I'll have a little camera set up. I go forward and right camera. So this should be able to auto land essentially. So we're doing the, we're not doing the cool gamer move that they normally do with these starships, which is the weird floppy kind of belly flop maneuver thing they do. But anyway, click on the land somewhere button. It's going to slowly figure out for us how to land somewhere. And we can just sit back here and point at the guy while it slowly lands. So, I hope you enjoyed this video of me attempting to land something. It'll start the burn soon, I swear. Eventually. We're getting close. There we are. I'll activate the gear now, and... oh god, it ran out of fuel right before we... Oh no, oh god, oh. That's not very cinematic at all. We killed all those people. They're all dead. They are completely decimated. I have killed hundreds. No. I believe I've... Oh god. I'll have to clean all this up later. That's supposed to work. I just overused fuel. So next time, don't follow my stupid instructions of overusing fuel. But hey, in theory, if I wasn't so dumb in the flight in the beginning, all of that worked perfectly, to a T, with no issues. We landed at Duna, so my ship works, for anyone questioning it. I guess, thanks for watching my terrible video. well, not video. It's more of a stream. Thanks for watching my stream, I guess. Hope and nobody that watched this enjoyed. I'm saying nobody because nobody watched it, but still, anyone who watches it in future, I hope you enjoy. And I say, wait a second. I didn't notice these comments. Somebody was putting comments on the live chat. I haven't checked it. Whoops. Ize Bize says, Ize Bize, what does Denshi means? By the way, what kind of mods do you use? Oh, I see. I don't think Ize is here anymore. Oh. So, yeah. I'm sorry. I can't answer that. So, well, anyway, thanks for watching. If anyone watched, thanks. Goodbye.